Hey everybody, it's Carol. It's Wednesday, August 19th, and at Lansing Community College here in Lansing, classes start tomorrow. They're all going to be online. Maybe there's some clinical face-to-face, but basically they're all going to be online. And the 2 or 3 days before classes start, academic advising is overwhelmed with students calling up needing last minute advice. What shall I take for my classes? I forgot to get my math levels figured out. I don't know how to do orientation. All sorts of things that they should have done weeks before, but here they are the day before class, trying to get their schedules settled and whatnot. So I looked today at my employee record. I've worked for LCC for 16 years, first teaching religion, world religions, and intro to New Testament, intro to Old Testament, Eastern world religions, Western world religions. And then I moved over to academic advising because I thought of that as teaching life. When I was teaching religion, I was teaching religious studies, and a lot of kids wanted to be there to fill up their humanities, to make sure they got their humanities credits. But I realized with academic advising, students were there because they really wanted to be there to get the information they needed. So I always teach life. I always do some extra academic advising right before the semester starts. And I had planned to be on vacation this week anyway, but that schedule got a little um, cattywampus. But I already had these hours scheduled at LCC, so I've been doing that. And in the last 2 days, I've seen by phone 25 students, and these are all the case notes that I've made on them. And we have a computer program where we write in the case notes at the end of each phone call with the students. But I usually furiously write things down, pen and paper, and then enter them into the into the program. So I had lots of mundane run-of-the-mill calls out of the 25, and then had some interesting ones. Um, and one of them was that comes to mind was a student who kind of working on a second career, wants to go into marine biology um, at a rather late state in his life, considering. And he's all set to go back to school. He's going to take a full-time load this semester and then continue next semester after he has his bariatric surgery. And I thought, well, that's going to be an interesting set of stresses in his life, not to mention the 7 kids that he and his wife have between them. So we had a nice conversation, and I hope he's able to do all the work that he wants to do. I had another student on the phone earlier today who had to pass me off to his mother because he says, I'm feeling kind of loopy. And when I talked to his mom, it turns out that he had had a tooth abscess uh, the day before or that day, and he was on some sort of opioid and couldn't think straight. And he was going to get his tooth pulled tomorrow. So I hope that works out well for him. Um, Talked to a lot of parents uh, who don't understand how to get their kids registered, even though the kids should be registering themselves. And then talk to kids and parents who have learning disabilities and things like that and need to figure out accommodations and how to navigate a system and develop strategies that they're going to be able to use for the rest of their life because ADHD might never go away. Certain learning disabilities won't necessarily go away. So part of the college experience is not only to do well in college, but to develop strategies, tools to help a person successfully navigate their life. So, so that's part of what I've been doing. I had a really fun conversation with a gentleman who had done a lot of missionary work over the years, he'd been to Uganda, Central and South America. I forget where else he said. And he was a drummer in a worship band that would travel around the world. And I thought, well, I'd never heard of that before. So that was sort of interesting to me. Um, there was one other that was a really fun conversation. Um, but I have to say, I don't remember why it was so fun at this moment. Um, so anyway, there were 25 of these or so, and at the end of the conversations, the students are usually very happy and very thankful. I pride myself that a lot of students or parents will say, "You've given us more help than any other advisor has been able to give us so far." And my answer is always, "We'll tell my boss." And they never ask for my boss's name, so that doesn't help much, but it does feel good. And one student, yes, today, one student today, at the end of the phone call, we're at the very end of the phone call, he says, "I appreciate you. I appreciate you." And I don't know if you've noticed it, but that phrase, "I appreciate you," has started bubbling up in our culture. It's in a way to say thanks, but um, it's it feels like more than thanks. It feels like someone saying, "I appreciate you." And it feels like more of a gift, like there's more power in that. So I got on the Google machine. I wanted to see where did this phrase come from? How long has it been around? And uh, of course, on Google, several listings for the phrase, "I appreciate you." There were even a couple of analytical uh, articles about what it is about those three words, "I appreciate you," that are more powerful than just saying thanks. There was also an article, I believe it was from New Zealand, that was cautioning people, saying this is going to be the new power phrase. So, watch out. It's not sincere. People really don't mean that when they say it. So, don't start using it yourself. Don't think it means anything. And yet, when I was talking to these students, and especially this one, at the end when he said, "I appreciate you," I felt like he did. I felt like he, as I said, gave me a gift. He didn't need to say that, and he did. So I'm liking this phrase. I'm having trouble saying it in different contexts. Um, it's easy for me to say appreciate it. Thanks, appreciate it. Thanks, I appreciate that. This would be much appreciated. But I think there's something very personal to say, "I appreciate you, what you've done, who you are, my relationship with you." So I just wanted to leave you with a thought today that one is, since I'm talking to a lot of you who I know, I appreciate you. And then I want to remind myself that that's something that I can begin to say more frequently to all sorts of people around me. My neighbor who offers to loan me some lawn equipment, the mailman mail person who I think had my mailbox post hole redug, um, my colleagues at LCC who answer questions for me that I don't know the answer to, those of you who pray for me and pray for the church and do such kind things for those in need, whatever kind of need, for all sorts of people in our life, our families, our friends. Without getting cynical, maybe it would be a good thing if we could say more frequently, I appreciate you. And I'm going to try and practice it so that it gets to be a habit for me and not something that feels totally awkward, but it's something that I say with sincerity and with love. So I appreciate you. I'll see you soon.